Hello, hello, and welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the Chilihead community, by the Chilihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, tonight we have an amazing episode, 2 sauces on deck, an amazing guest locked and loaded, and a very fun game planned. So, as always, episode 116 starts now. Welcome on in, Swear Nation. So glad to have everyone here. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for being here and making this show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Up tonight, we have 2 sauces on deck for Hot or Not from Down To Ferment. We're going to be diving into those, and I cannot wait to break into these and share that with everyone. As well as we have Chilli Philli from Burnin Bites Down Under. So we're going to be talking, Australia's craziest competition that is just right around the corner, and how you can tune in and watch it, as well as everything that Chilli Philli has kind of gotten into and all the fun along the way. So if you would have answered the game any differently than Chilli Philli does, go ahead and let me know down in the comments what you would have changed around. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Hey, welcome on into Hot or Not. We have now started this new iteration of, Hot or Not. It is now going to be broken down into bite-size nugget for everyone, a nice quick hit. So if you want to catch the full-length reviews, all those will be under the Scorching and Swearing. But here is where you get to see the bite-size version as well as the official scorecard for both of these products. As always, do not like to read the ingredients. Let my taste buds do the exploration first and really get that full understanding. I also don't do a 1 out of 10. I do a 1 out of 5 scale, and that is based off of heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, burn. Add them up, average them out, and that gives us our total swear word rating. This is from Down To Ferment. This is the much-awaited corn hub. For those that are keeping track, this does not have a perforation on the cellophane. The overall color is this great yellow. You see the normal natural color of the corn yellow throughout this. You got some bright pops of what look like maybe some peppers going on in there, because you get a nice little kiss of like an orangish red shreds going on in there, and it looks like maybe a little bit of seasoning. Open this one up. Oh my goodness, absolutely magical. Very creamy. You're definitely picking up the corn aroma right off the bat. Very creamy, very savory. Onion or garlic going on. Very nice pour. Creamy overall look. Nice texture. Medium consistency. Once it gets going, it gets going. Cheers. Oh my goodness, holy cow. That is phenomenal. It tastes like street corn in a bottle. Beautiful cascade of flavors. Creamy, smooth, nice savory depth on the body right up front. Nice little cut of citrus. And when that cut of citrus comes in, you're really graced with the overall pepper flavor profile really coming through. You feel it hitting the tongue. You feel it hitting the gums. And really, it's now kind of gravitating towards the back portion of the mouth, not quite the back throat, but the back portion of the mouth. If you're just starting out using this sauce in moderation, you're going to be able to still enjoy it. It's still going to be great. It's going to absolutely elevate all those things like tacos, burgers, pizzas, sandwiches. Main thing I'm going to be throwing this on is going to be tacos, breakfast burritos. Definitely if you're out at a party or a get-together with friends or family, and maybe they don't necessarily cook, the most spicy or interesting food. It's oftentimes bland. You bring that to taco night. If somebody that makes bland tacos and you just made that taco really awaken, sing, and have tons of flavor. You're working on your own personal best. You're constantly pushing yourself. This is going to be a nice medium sauce for you. The overall burn, the way it sits, is mostly parked on the back of the mouth. It is more of a stinging burn, so I'm definitely thinking that this might have some habanero in there. Ingredients are kombucha culture. We have roasted corn, habanero pepper. There we go. Lime juice, ají amarillo, and then agave nectar, avocado oil, salt, garlic, nutritional yeast, dried chili, and that is the morita, the guajillo, and the Fresno, and then we have cumin and cilantro. Do not get caught with your pants down. Grab a hold of your bottle and experience the flavors of the classic San Diego street food elote. So enjoy this rich, creamy sauce on Mexican grilled meats and veggies, breakfast, or baked potatoes. Baked potatoes sounds very interesting. I bet you this thing absolutely sings. It gives that nice creamy, overall spicy depth to that baked potato. The heat of 3.3, aroma of 4.14, flavor of 4.15, a versatility of a 4, a burn of a 3.6 for a total swear word rating of 3.9. There we go. Another amazing product. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the next from Down to Ferment. This is Ghosted. This is one of their hottest sauces. As you can see there, love the overall visual representation on the label. You know, a ghost holding a phone, trying to figure out why the message is not coming through because he's being, well, ghosted. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. Give this one a good shake. And for those that are keeping track, no, this does not have a perforation on the cellophane. Great color to this sauce. Nice viscosity. It looks like it's got some great flow going on here. Oh, wow. Right off the bat, aroma is magical. I think that's ginger and maybe lemongrass. It's really hard to pick up what else is going on in there. Maybe some kind of onion. Just smells like a nice savory body. So nice flow. A little bit thinner sauce than say some of their others. Cheers. Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Definitely ginger, definitely lemongrass. Definitely picking up the ghost. A little bit of a stinging action. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that there's also habanero. Flavor bomb to the max. Might be a slight subtle note of garlic towards the end of the finish on that overall flavor profile. I can't tell if that's cumin or if that's like some kind of an allspice or something that's going on. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal sauce here from Down to Ferment. Let's talk about heat first. Right off the bat, it absolutely lights up the tongue, lights up the gums, full-on mouth assault. And then from there, when the burn really hands off, it parks so far towards the back of the mouth. It is residing more in the back of the throat and just kind of gracing the overall mouth as a nice sizzle and sting goes on. Just starting out. This is definitely one that is going to be pushing the boundaries. Probably not one that you want to jump into. Plenty of other great options from Down to Ferment if you are just starting out. If you are working on your own personal best, you're constantly pushing yourself, this is going to be a nice medium to high heat sauce, depending on where your tolerance is at. You know, some of us out there would say it would be a nice medium, like high heat, medium sauce, broaching on that line of high heat. One that you can utilize on burgers, sandwiches, pizzas, subs, tacos, enchiladas, quesadillas, you name it, this thing's going to go great on it. I could actually see this also going phenomenal with, like, say, some Indian food, some Thai food, in some pho, in some ramens. Absolutely very versatile and a great addition to go on there. Ingredients here. So we have kombucha culture, then we have water, red bell peppers, shallots, habanero pepper, glongal root, Thai chilies, garlic, ghost pepper flake, ginger, kosher salt, kefir limes, lemongrass, cumin. Delivery of the Thai pepper in there is a beautiful bridge between that habanero heat, that Thai heat that is so quick, nice flash, and then the hand off to the habanero for that sting delivery, and then that ghost pepper really adding that late kind of delayed increase in heat. All right, here we go. We have Ghosted from Down to Ferment with the heat coming in at 3.89, an aroma of 3.97, a flavor of a 4, versatility of a 4, and a burn of 4.1 for a total swear word rating of 3.99. There we go. Another amazing product. This is once again Ghosted from Down to Ferment. If you would like to check out these products, I'll have the direct links down below for them, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Down to Ferment. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to our interview. Hey, Chilli Phil, how's it going?
All right, Legend, how you doing there?
Man, doing great. Glad to have you on here. Obviously, you were nominated, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about you. Quickly being able to gain some insight on you, what you have going on. Super excited to learn more and also share with all those that are watching and listening. So, thank you so much for being here.
Bloody oath, mate. Happy to be here.
Well, one thing I always like to lead off with, definitely whenever getting to know somebody, is ultimately what got you into the world of hot, and then what was that catapulting moment that you said, "I'm going to start making my own products."
Wow, it's actually kind of a weird story. But long story short, there was a New Year's Eve where there was an incident, and without getting into too much detail, I ended up having an incident where I ripped my pec off the bone.
Wow.
And this is going to sound like a really random segue, so I'll try to get through this quickly. But basically, I had to have a surgery, get it reattached, and I was in a world of pain. And I was just sitting there feeling sorry for myself for about 2 weeks where I couldn't get out of bed. And one of my friends goes, "You got to take your mind off where you're at right now and get out of this pity cycle." And I'm like, "Yeah, fair enough." And we started watching Hot Ones, and I think we got to like season 10 or something, or a fair way in. And my mate just goes to me, "You could do this." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, you never talk. You never shut up. You talk enough for 4 people, right?" Like he goes, "You got the talking part right, but like, can you handle chili, right?" And so he busted open a Hot Ones box. I think the sauce was called Medusa. It was like a million scope. I'll try that and go, "Yep, that's not too bad." He's like, "Oh, dude, F you. Seriously? Like, what the, what?" And I go, "That's hot, man." I go, "Right." And he goes, "Try this one." It was the last dab, double X. So 2 million Scoville or something, right? And I try that. I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty tasty." He's like, "You know what? Screw you, man. Like, that brings tears to my eyes. Like, what the hell?" And he goes, You're meant to do this. You're meant to do this." And we sort of started out like a kind of like an Aussie Hot Ones. And that's sort of where we initially began. But every time we had a chat with like followers or fans or viewers and people watching, they said, "Oh, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should try this." And I'm just one of those dudes. I'm just sort of pretty opportunistic, so I'll give everything a go at least once. At least once I'll do something stupid at least once. And yeah, and I just sort of we kept expanding from going from just that kind of Hot Ones kind of thing, which was in person and live at bars and clubs as well. So we had a live audience, which was great. Then to do reviews, and then I got into emceeing chili festivals and competitions and all kinds of stuff like that. And then I did enough reviews that eventually one of the people I did a review was just going, "We really love your review. Do you want to collaborate with us and make a product?" And it just sort of went from there. It just became this thing. And it's so odd as well. We were like, "What are we going to call this sauce?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you come up? What do you call your sauce? What do you call it? And with like we wanted to create like a beautiful hot barbecue sauce with a little bit of spice and a bit smoky, a little bit sweet, that's the kind of flavors that I like. And so we're like, "What are we going to call this?" And for the longest time, for like the last 15, 16 years, I've been traveling overseas. I've been about 15 or maybe nearly 16 countries as well. And everywhere I go, people go, "Oh, Jack Black. Oh, it looks like you look like Jack Black." And I'm like, "No." But anyway, no, people don't even speak English, and they're like, "Oh, Jack Black." I'm like, "Yeah, man, $5.99. I'm just being silly, just rolling,
Yeah.
right?" And somebody goes, "You should call it tribute." And I'm like, "Why?" They go, "Because you can say, well, it's not the greatest hot sauce in the world. It's just a tribute." I
There
was
you
like,
go.
"Yeah, dude, that sold me on that." It's just so, I was like, "That's too good. That's too good."
That is awesome. Well, that's super cool to be able to see and hear about the whole growth aspect of it. And, as you were talking through that, it's one of those things that hot ones, it also has helped open and kind of bridge that door for so many. But yes, to that point, oftentimes those individuals that come on and they sit down as guests for the show, they may have zero experience with heat. They may have, maybe never even tried a hot sauce before. And even with the ones that have, their experience knowledge is probably not quite as vast as, say, some of us that are plugged into the community. And with that being said, it's like those sauces as they roll out. Yeah, they now there's always the rotating ones. Those I definitely tip my hat to. A lot of the others, it's like it's there for more the branding. It's there for more the marketing. It's there's a lot of sauces that could meet that line and still hold true. And to be able to find a fun way to do that and engage, with others in person in Australia and do a fun rendition of it, it's got to be an absolute blast. Now, as you've gone through different venues, having different live audiences, I'm sure some of those have been pretty rowdy. What has been like the most memorable moment from, say, doing some of your live in persons?
Like this is going to sound weird. So, like I said, we kept on branching out, and doing more and more things, and trying different things with the format and seeing what worked and what didn't. And I think the thing that was my favorite that stood out the most was we did what we created called Burnin' Bites games, right? So it's chili games, right? And it's games that everyone knows, but with a chili twist, and
Yep.
we'd like to try and supersize it as well. So, like, everyone's seen battleships. Like, you know what battleships is? Where you like,
Yep.
E3 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So what we did is we went to our local. It was a bar slash bowling alley slash putt putt place, and it was awesome. And every weekend to go off, so we have live crowds there, and we just be on their PA system and doing these Burn and Bites games. And they're people like every weekend they just like, what are these guys going to do next? So we did this version of what was it? Chili battleships, right? But they were sitting on what was a ping pong table, basically, and we've just put this giant divider so they literally couldn't see what was in front of them.
Yep.
So, and then we had like a giant battleship thing, and so we had these big wooden ships that we sort of made on this supersized version of battleships. And each of instead of like having the dot go into the ship, it was a shot, right? Like a shot
Nice.
glass.
Yep.
And so but because it was like, it's Facebook, we're going to be PG and blah, blah, blah. Instead of having shots of alcohol, there were different chili lollies in each one, right? And
Nice.
so the bigger ships, the easier ones to hit, they were like milder. And then the smaller ones were like hotter. And then, the smallest one is just flamethrower. And it was so funny. We convinced a whole range of different people, men, women, old, younger, and like Australian and a bunch of other different cultures to give it a go. And like we saw these two Mexican dudes go face off, and people going, "Oh yeah, the Mexicans will smash it. They'll knock this out of the box. They'll be bored, right?" And it turns out that the guy, one Mexican guy, chose the smallest battleship as the space, and he gets the hottest one from the start. He's just like, ah! Like he was like swearing in Spanish or something. I don't know, but yeah, he suddenly his confidence drained out of him pretty quick, and I was just like, oh. And even the Aussies are going, all right, okay, we've got a game. Like this
Nice.
is fun. And it was just really funny to see like a completely different culture to us just go, what have I done to myself? It's so funny to see that stereotype flip on its head where the dumb white guy does something silly and you see him get just smashed. And then it's so funny seeing these other cultures where they think that we know a lot more about chili and be like, yeah, I think I know what I'm in for. And just getting absolutely annihilated. It was hilarious. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of fun. I was already actually picturing, as you were describing, I could visualize exactly how this was going to be playing out. Initially in my head, before you mentioned the different size boats having different size heat, all I could think of is, it would be interesting. And if, loser, maybe this was the case too, if, like, say, I had 3 boats or 2 boats left and I end up winning if a loser also, kind of like beer pong, if loser had to also take down the shots that I had still left on the board as well. That would be an interesting way to level up the game. And then my mind was thinking more of, oh, okay, well, how many extreme hot sauces could I stagger and just be like, well, this one doesn't hit you right off the bat, but man, does it burn forever. And this one, and so on and so
The old
forth.
creepers.
Yeah, and then the more um, I've seen it labeled as extreme battleship is the people that will take the ships and they'll stack the ships on top. So you just basically you have to keep hitting the same spots, but it just blows up the ship and they take it off and they blow up another ship and take it off.
Oh,
But
really? Wow.
meanwhile, people just waste their time in the waters trying to find the other ships, but all they have to do is keep drilling in the same spot. So yeah.
That's an idea. Yeah. I think that was one of the rules. Is if you won, that you'd have to. No, if you lost, that's right. And they got all the way through, then you'd have to eat all the rest on the board. That was actually the rule. But most people didn't get there. And it was till this two South African girls. They were so funny, and they were like, "We're besties. We've been best friends since primary school, and oh my god, we love each other." And then the moment they were on the other side, they're like, "That bitch is going down. She's going down. She's going down." Like it was wild. Like this one chick, she got, what was it, 5 battleships, like all the battleships on the board, and the other chick only got 2, and we're like, oh. She just decimated her. And we're going, well, look, you've got to eat the rest here or quit. And she's like, I'm not quitting. No. And just like refused to quit and just like, and like with tears in her eyes, like crying, red face, like drooling a bit. And I'm just like, I'm not letting her win. Like, it was wild. And they were the best of mates. And we walked away laughing. They thought it was great. But like, I was just so weird seeing this streak of like competitiveness coming out of these perfectly best friends. I'd take a bullet for you, best friend, kind of thing. And then she's like, she's going down. Like, yep. I can't believe it, just how quickly they turned just because of competition. It was wild.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, she did kind of take a spicy bullet for her. So that definitely makes sense.
Many bullets. Like, she took more bullets than Neo should have. But anyway, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's awesome. The overall, I guess one thing that I didn't really get to lean in too much was gaining a better understanding of the overall heat or flavor real profiles. I guess we'll talk about flavor profiles first for Australia.
Yeah, sure.
Do you find that there's more dishes that are geared towards like the sweet side, or do you find more savory dishes? Where does that really kind of fall out?
Yeah, I think like Australians have a bit more of a sweet tooth, to be honest, on average compared to let's say, well, definitely Asian countries and like anywhere that's not a Western country, basically. But then like I would suppose that like with our hot sauces and the direction when we have spicy products, we sort of prefer it more sweeter as well, and probably more, I'd say, more buttery or like with a more of a dairy kind of feel. But like, yeah, Australians seem to have that kind of thing going for them because, I don't know. Yeah, we just like the sweetness. We've got lots of fruits. We're a very fruit-orientated nation as well, I suppose. We're very well known for our pineapple as well. That's why we've got a giant big one.
Well, I mean, absolutely love fruits, and I love to, it's something. It's one of those food items that they're so refreshing. And definitely on a nice hot day, they can help really cool you down nice and quick. So it's a great avenue there and a great vessel. I can definitely see where the more like creamy, notes kind of come through, and that would be an absolute amazing addition. Oftentimes I'll hear about Australian pies as like a great on the go, kind of like a more of a I guess here in the States it would be more like a fast food option, right? And I've been blown away by some of the ones that people have shared with me to be able to like see, and I'm jealous. There's often times where I'm like, I would actually I would be all for that. And I would imagine they are also great vessels for either stuffing peppers in, putting in hot sauce. Of course, my brain initially is wired to think, how can I make this item spicy? And being able to just like nibble off a pocket and then let it just all flow in there seems like the ideal situation. Is there kind of a easy grab, go to type of food that you like to spice up?
Well, mate, I think you've just absolutely hit the nail on the head. Like, I'm very partial to a good old pie. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, pies are absolutely amazing. They're ripper around Australia. And I think it's just 20 minutes north of me. I have access to one of the best pie places in Sydney, right? Because I'm based in Sydney, Australia, as you can probably tell,
Okay.
and from the accent. But no, yeah, the pies are pretty awesome in Australia. And but what's even weirder is this strange thing I've come across, and this is going to sound even weirder. It's another tangent, another segue. I just recently went to New Zealand, and I kept getting told by a bunch of Aussies that have been to New Zealand, going, mate, go and try the pies there. And the pies in New Zealand are another level. Like I was like,
Yep.
I was pretty proud about how good pies are in Australia and how good some of the pies here in Sydney as well. But wow, like talk about Lord of the Rings. They've got some
Yeah.
impressive pastries there. The pastry is better, and it's like more real meat and more. I don't know, everything's about it's fresher, and I'm like, yeah, Aussie pies are awesome, but like New Zealand pies are just another notch, and it's really annoying now. Now I can't unfeel that, or
Yep.
untaste that. It makes
Yep.
sense. But then back to what you're saying, like, is it pies are a great delivery system. I've actually been privy to a whole bunch of different spicy pies, and I'm also fortunate enough to live only just 1 hour away from Australia's hottest pie. It's just
Oh.
stuffed with reapers and extract and all this kind of stuff. It's a pretty brutal pie. And I was also filming, what was it? Australia's hottest pie competition in Newcastle at one stage as well. And wow, that was an experience in itself. That was, yeah, both beautiful pies and absolute crazy heat in them. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we definitely love our pies here in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they look great, and yes, to that same point, New Zealand kind of lured me in initially with like the whole Lord of the Rings, the great scenery, and all this stuff, and it was like, that's one place I always want to go. And then same thing, I heard about Australian pies, and then I actually watch a New Zealand comedian often online whenever he rolls out his videos, and he's
Oh, which beauty is that?
always talking about New Zealand pies and how they're so great. And so I'm like, man, all right, even more reason for me to one day just swing on by and
Yeah.
plan a nice trip that I can, I'm very driven
Oh, well,
by
New
food.
Zealand. New Zealand's a beautiful place in the world, mate. Like, I don't think I've spent enough time there, to be honest. Like, if I was a millionaire, I'd probably go spend a month there straight,
Yeah.
because it's such a beautiful place. The people are really beautiful. It blew me away that I was just walking around in the harbour there, just like right next to the CBD, and just seeing these kids just throw in a couple of fishing rods, and then like less than 5 minutes, pull out like a big fish, like almost like a game fish, and I'm going, what are you using for bait? It was just wild. And they weren't old. They were like, I mean, school kids, like primary school kids, pulling out like 45 centimeter like fish. I don't know how many. What do you guys have
Yeah.
measured there? But
Yeah. No.
a pretty decent fish, like a fish like the size of my arm, And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So
built
yeah,
different,
it's a
raised
beautiful place.
different. Definitely, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
It yeah the comedian though, because I heard you asking is God, I'm gonna blink on it. Jamie Jackson, I think, is who it is, if I
Yep.
remember correctly. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll watch his stuff. I used to watch it pretty consistently, but now it's like anytime something rolls out, I notice I catch it about once every 3 or 4 videos, and then I'll have some fun stuff to catch up on real quick. He always does those quick hits, but yeah, no, it's absolutely fun. to catch up on that. But yeah, no, the overall scene there, obviously, there's a lot going on. Australia is our, as Americans, our fun getaway for whenever things are dreaded here. And I imagine it's the same way or flipped around. Y'all get to enjoy the competitions and watching and all the fun things while y'all are in the winter seasons, if you will, and then vice versa. So always extremely blown away by the level of thought and the competitions and the extreme natures and just even y'all don't just do, it's not just peppers. Like there's a magnitude of other things that you lean into for competitions, and it's inspiring. But at the same time, it's like I'm just like blown away. Is there a very large group, would you say, of individuals that are in Australia that also like to eat spicy food, or is it relatively a small portion of the overall population, do you feel?
Oh, it's a good question, right? Right. So it's funny. It's kind of, how do I explain it? You know, when you're looking for something, and when you're looking for that thing, you see it everywhere once you
Yep.
started looking. But before that point in time, every that thing that you were looking for was like invisible to you. It just didn't. It was somewhere in the background, right? And it's just like the more you focus on chili and chili orientated people, the more you start to see them. And they just thought there's just that one guy in the corner going, "Oh, and there's those pods over there, and that's there, you know." And there's that one guy you walk, he's in the sauce section, you know, and he's like, "How many Scoville?" Like, you know, and he's starting to notice these trends, and it's weird. And the more you do it, it's almost like the Matrix code is. I see. He's
Absolutely.
beginning to believe, right?
Yep.
and you're like, and you start to every single barbecue you find there's this one chili theme there. He's like, yeah, and then I put this thing on it, and that was all right, but that's not the spicy thing there. And I'm going, oh yeah, oh, I like where this is going, you know. And
Yep.
it's just so weird that it bleeds into a lot of our society more than we realize. And there's always that one friend at a barbecue or a party or a gathering or a work thing or a meeting, and there's always that one dude, you know. So I'm not going to say it's an overwhelming majority of Australians that enjoy spice, but I reckon, like, I'd say at the most maybe 1 in 3 people, or around 20%. You know, like, but it's just funny. Like, just when you think you've met every single chili head or every spice head, then you're like, oh, do you like chili? Yeah, and then the next conversation starts rolling on, and it blows my mind that like it's this weird little secret fight club. You know, you're
Yep.
in the fight club, but shh, don't talk about Fight Club.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's just funny, like it's just this unspoken thing, but everyone seems to know about it at the same time. And the more you delve into it, the more you're like, yep, you got this unspoken words and rules. Like, I don't know, you know, and you just have an understanding with everyone. It's funny.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to that point, yeah, it's kind of like that whole break in on the Matrix, where you do look for something. Like you may see a car and you're like, oh man, that's a nice looking car. And next thing you know, you see like 20, 30 on the road, and it's like, whoa, where did this car come? Why do I now see it all the time? It's almost as if that's being pumped into our, whatever you want to, a lot of people believe we live in a simulation, but it's like, you get pumped
Yeah,
into this whole thing to continue on that Matrix talk. You get pumped
yeah,
into that simulation and you see it often. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun when that does happen, because then not only does that continue to motivate you, that means that good things are going to continue to grow in that area. Definitely with like the chili world as a whole. That means more people that are encouraged and engaged. That means more growth, and so it's an overall win all the way around. But you know,
yeah.
you do pepper reviews, you do product reviews. Yeah. As you're going through these, have you found to be there like a certain pepper that really stands out to you that's like either in your top 10 or we'll narrow it down, top 3 that you really like to kind of stick around? And then is there a daily consumption heat level that you tend to like to stay around?
Yeah, oh, that's a barrage of questions. That's all right. I'll welcome them.
Nah, we
So
can roll them
yeah,
out one by one.
yeah, that's all right. So like, the one that stands out the most, I think everyone's going to agree with this, is that the Carolina Reaper. It's just you have to know that immediate smell and that immediate taste, and you're like, there it is. They're like, it's got such a signature. Like there's nothing quite like it, you know. And even after trying Pepper X mashes from Smoking Ed Curry and that, you know, and it's unique, you know, but there's nothing quite being hit with a Reaper. That first Reaper hit where it licks your tongue. You're like, oh yeah, that's pretty hot. It's not that bad though, and then it starts building. You're like, ah. You know, it's not over yet. You know, and it's just the pungent bitterness. It's just so cuts through everything. Like it's so rare to see a product where it can overwhelm the pungency and the bitterness and the sourness of a Reaper. You know, it's
Yep.
just so, you know, it's yeah. When you want a scalpel, you get a sledgehammer kind of thing. It's just one of those chilies, those peppers. You know, bam, you know, announces its presence with a bazooka. But yeah, um,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, I think as for flavor and what I prefer, I'm more in the ghost. I'm into ghost chilies. I like ghost chilies because I think the benefit that I enjoy the most from ghost chilies is that it doesn't have a real flavor. It just sort of assimilates into your dish, and it melts into a curry, and it melts into whatever you just sort of want to amalgamate it into food wise. It's a beautiful chili for that, and it doesn't taint or change the flavor. So that way, it is literally augmenting your dish. It's adding to it, not taking away or subtracting or just completely taking it over. You know, so I
Absolutely.
think for like flavor and a decent level of heat, that's what I'm sort of going for. As for a regular intake, I think I'm eating chili every day. And I would be at the very least, at the mildest, I'll be eating like a medium habanero level sauce. You know, at the very very mildest. And I'm always putting my rub on everything. Like it sounds like a weird G up and just trying to be an advert, but it's such a weird product that I've yet to find what it doesn't go on. So I'm still experimenting with it, going, what does this go? I mean, like we just put on hash browns and eggs before. Like, what
Oh,
a
nice.
weird combo, you know? But it just works, you know?
Yeah.
And mac and cheese and stuff. But no, I'm when it's in the middle of the chili season here in Australia, and right now where I'm preparing for the Australian Chili Champs, which is the national comp, right? I'm
Yep.
the event creator, organizer, and MC. I do everything right for this competition. And at the end of the day, the person who organises the comps and the order they go in is me. So that means that I need to know how they rate in Scovilles and where they fit, which means
Absolutely.
trying to. And this stuff is brutal. So my tolerance just goes through the roof. And so people are like, "Hey, why are you eating that cardboard?" I'm like, "Oh, because I don't have any taste buds right now." No, I'm just kidding. But like it just gets to a point where like there's no heat anymore. Like I could munch like I don't know, a habanero, and people are like, "What's up with that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was an apple." Like, sorry, you know,
Yep.
it's just
Yep.
it's so crazy. But then in the off season, I'm like simmering back down to Chipotle's again. You know,
Yep.
it's really odd. It's just sort of like what the season is like. But when it's building up to the Australian Chili Champs, which is July 5th. Yeah, like there's not much I couldn't handle because I'm constantly eating extracts and capsaicin crystals and tinctures and like there's days where like my tongue is black and people are like, "What's with that?" And it's like, "Oh, that's just all the extract stuck to me. Don't worry, I'm dead inside. It's okay."
Yeah, yeah, no, the many things there that were resonating. I also loved a nice ghost pepper sauce. I would say that's a very solid everyday kind of grab for me as well, and that's simply because I love the way that the ghost pepper heat and delivery comes on. So it's one of those
Oh yeah,
peppers
it's
that you
smooth,
can
isn't it?
use it fresh, you can use it in powders, you can use it in sauce, and you can just
It's
kind of
great.
lather it on and keep it tapered
Yeah,
where you want the heat.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's sort of if I was to explain the experience of a ghost pepper to me, or at least incorporated in a product or a dish, is it just feels like that, like a nice, warm, glowing campfire, and
Yep.
you're surrounded by a bunch of friends, and it's warm and it's nice, and it might be a little bit hot, but it's really enjoyable, and it's a warm,
Absolutely.
comforting kind of experience, where it's not too far that it's past your comfort zone. It's just inside it, and I think that's what's really nice about the ghost pepper and ghost pepper kind of sauces and products as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to the point too with the habaneros, there's so many times where prior jobs that I'd been working whenever I was working for a company was really kind of, there would be days where I'd just be like, well, you know what? I'm not really hungry, but I want something. And I would just walk to the grocery store that was right there, and they would always have fresh loads of habaneros, and I'd just grab, a container or two, and I just go back to the office with sometimes I'll have like one, like kind of a fizzy drink or something like that, right? And I'll walk back and I'll just be eating those and munching them. And everyone's like, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, it kind of just tastes like berries to me. But you feel a little bit of something later on, a few hours later, as your body's digesting
Oh yeah,
it, but you don't really, it's
no
not,
real flavor.
yeah, it's not ultimately unpleasant. But everyone else is freaked out and worried for your life. Are you okay? What you just took in, I don't know. And it's like, it's really not that bad, guys. It's really not. But yeah, that part, it's always fun to see. And then, knowing that others are also experiencing that is also awesome to see and hear. Yeah, I mean, hosting these pepper competitions, being able to be plugged in and doing it in that manner, and being able to know the varying heats and how it all plays out. That is a lot of time and dedication to not only organize the event, but map it and map it out, but then also map out the overall pain cycle. We'll put it that way for others.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. That's a good description. I like that.
yeah,
The, mapping out the pain cycle. I like that. We
it,
just normally just call it the pain train, where
yeah.
you are on the pain train.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that stood out to me is also, I don't drink too often anymore, but when I do, I'll seek out like spicy beers and spicy liquors and stuff like that, and I'll try them out. Oftentimes, a lot are, it almost feels like they just throw it in there just to have it on the label and to say it. But then there's those few outliers that, man, when they hit it right, oh my god, it doesn't even have to be the hottest, but if they can just deliver on that nice level of burn and that nice flavor coming forward on that drink, absolutely amazing when that happens. Do y'all have often any kind of like spicy beers that roll out in that in Australia?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got so many breweries. You would think that we're Germany. Like it's ridiculous. Like they're every time you think you've seen every brewery, then another one will pop up, and it'll be either a craft one or an independent one or whatever. But every now and then something will pop up where you're just like, wow, this is special, And for Sydney, there's a place called One Drop Brewery, and this guy, he was a brewmaster of a very famous mainstream beer here in Australia. I'm not sure what it was, but that's the story. And
Yeah.
long story short, he was the brewmaster for about 30 something years, and he just got sick of making the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that. So he resigned, and he decided to make his own brewery, and he wanted to create a brewery where every month they would come up with a new flavor, and it'd just be a different combo and a different combo and a different combo, but he would never repeat himself. Right? And
Yep.
we were like, what? That's such a weird thing. But he would just come out with some absolute bangers. And there was this one that he came out where it was a mixture of like a cinnamon cola cider thing with spice. And it sounds odd. It just seems like uh, I don't know, a quagmire of
Yep.
mixed products and ingredients. But it worked. It really, really worked. And we were like, my God, he's done it. Like what's happened? And like it's really rare to come up with a place where it comes up just with this perfect combo, I don't know. It was like the cinnamon, the cola, and the cider, and the spice, like just is just mixed in the right levels or combo, or I don't know what it was. But like I haven't really come across a beer that tastes as good as that with spice in it.
Yep.
And there's been a couple of good ones, but like nothing that's as good as that, you know. So and there will be some that just attempt it, but it feels like you just said, it's just like, well, it's just chili with beer and whatever. Good luck. But there are a couple. They're few and far in between where they actually decently work, and then there's just that one drop brewery I was talking about. It's just on a different level. It's just at the top of Mount Olympus somehow, and no one's ever come near it. Like, yeah,
You know, everyone's got their strong suit. Sounds like they found theirs there. Um,
yeah.
you know, and as well, I wanted to talk about. We've kind of touched on it as well with your products. That you have going on the inspiration aspect, but also wanted to just briefly mention. You were talking about trying to find fun and creative ways to have incorporate your products and find out where it works and where it doesn't. I feel that I do that often with a lot of things, and I don't know how. I would assume there's others out there. Sounds like you also might do this as well, but I always like to find creative ways to layer different types of heat in this. So, sometimes I'll do fresh peppers, and like we'll use the very basic example of building out a sandwich. I will do, the base layer is either going to be on the bread, is either a spicy mustard or a hot sauce or something like that, right? Like a spicy something or other on there. And then I'll chop some fine, thin layers of peppers, drop them in there so they're not like making the sandwich all fumbly and all this other thing. And then I'll layer on a heavy sprinkling of some kind of pepper powder, whether it be straight powder or a blend. And then after I've assimilated this whole entire sandwich, I will end up either putting like a spicy dressing on it or hot sauce or something of that nature. And it's a great avenue to go. And so just to give a little bit of insight in that, as well as there's so many different avenues where I'm like, this is probably not going to taste great, but you know what? I'm going to try it anyways because that product's so great. It has to make this better. So it's, I assume you're probably doing a lot of the same as far as finding new fun ways to incorporate things with,
Oh
spice
yeah, like
products.
I think like that's one of the best parts of being a reviewer, being involved with the chili and the spice world, is that there's so many different products and ingredients, and then you can find and try and taste new ingredients that you might not have already been aware of. It opens your eyes to a lot of the world that you either weren't really aware of, or that you didn't know, like you hadn't yet experienced it yet. And sometimes like trying a new thing opens your eyes a little bit, but then trying that new thing in a certain context, like in a certain dish or a curry or whatever, it just really opens your eyes in a completely different way. And yeah, no, it's just amazing that you can do that with so many different things in a culinary kind of way. And I feel like being involved in the chili community and having access to so many different flavors and products has really opened my taste buds horizon, so to speak. And it's it's kind of like taking my taste buds on an eat, pray, love
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Broaden the horizons or whatever you want to call it, right? And no, I'm really thankful to be involved with that, because I feel like in comparison to who I was food wise and flavor wise, I was probably very bland compared to what I am now. And I'm kind of thankful actually that I've gone on this journey. It's weird that now, now that we mention it. So hopefully
Yeah.
that answers your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. The I guess the to tie into that as well, the inspiration and direction behind your products that you have. Where does that kind of really like dive down into? Like, where did you? What was the driving force behind that?
As in the product name or the flavors? What do you
The
mean by
the
that?
the
Like,
flavors, the overall like creation of the flavor profiles. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, with the flavor profile, it was based on my taste buds and the direction and the flavor that I like. And I'm a bit of a sweet tooth, right? And
Mm,
it's sort of playing off what you said about Aussies before. And I don't know if it's Aussies in general, but I know that I'm a fair sweet tooth, so probably more than average here in Australia as well. So, anyway, I love a good barbecue sauce and I love a bit of spice, and I've always liked them smoky, but I've never seen them sort of smoky and sweet with a little
yep.
bit of spice. And I just wanted to sort of hit the nail on the head with all three, but then I had seen a whole bunch of sauces with honey in them, and honey had sort of been already overdone. And honey's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm been a huge fan of maple syrup for a long, long time. I've always liked pancakes and maple syrup. And weirdly enough, I actually came into contact with Mike Jack, the one of the Canadian chili champions in New Zealand, because our
Nice.
guys faced off against him for the world belt in New Zealand a few years ago, Greg Iron Guts Barlow. And he was a two-time Australian chili champion winner as well, actually, too, and the Oceania champ. So anyway, long story short, Mike Jack goes, hey, here, man, try this, and gave me like a 1 liter of pure Canadian maple syrup. And going, wow, whoa, what? Like, I don't think I'm, does that cost a lot, man? He goes, oh, no, this is just from around the corner. It's like $5 a bottle for me. I'm going, wow. Whereas in Australia, the size of the bottle that he was holding was maybe a $50 bottle here. And he said he got it for $5. I'm going, what? So anyway, that part blew my mind. But then he goes, try it. Tell me what you think, right? And I'm like, all right, is this laced with something? Like, what has he done? But it was sealed, right? It was like, okay, it's sealed, right. Pop the thing open, pop the cap, stick my finger in it, gone, oh, oh. And I'm like, that is the best goddamn maple syrup I've ever tried. And he's like, I know, right? Like, and I was like, yeah. And so when I was mulling this over my head, I'm going, this is what we've got to do. We've got to put maple syrup in it instead of honey, but real Canadian maple syrup. Because I tried Australian maple syrups before, and I tried a bunch of other maple syrups, but I don't know. Canadian maple syrup is just the best. It is just the best. Like, and I don't know if people disagree with me. That's my opinion on it. But like after trying maple syrup from every single continent in the world, it just Canadians seem to just do it better. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what carried it on into the sauce. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Canadians have that on lock. The maple syrup game is
Oh,
absolutely,
absolutely.
I mean, they're known for it, and there's a reason for that. And they also have
What's on
amazing
their flag, man?
conditions to fit that. Yeah.
Like it can't get more obvious than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's oh gosh, it is very good. I'm a little bit straight. I'm not one that likes to eat when I eat my pancakes, I don't normally eat them with a fork and knife. I like to take them,
Shove me back.
lather up the butter, roll it up like a little tortilla, and then I pinch off the bottom so that it can't get out, and I just fill it with maple syrup. And so then I can take bites, and it's like a pancake
It's like a
gusher.
breakfast burrito. That actually sounds all right, man. I'm going to give that a go.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
You wanna step it up a notch. Once you put the butter down, put down your pepper powder, then roll it, and then put in maple syrup. And if you got any, I know you've been,
Yeah.
I
I
know if
like that,
you,
mate. I like the way you think. That's great. That sounds awesome, mate.
it's amazing. And then you can kind of,
That's what we're doing tomorrow for brekkie, mate. I'll tell you
oh yeah,
what.
oh yeah,
Give it a credit.
it's a great trio there, using all three of those together. So.
Oh, mate, you've sold me already. I've already bought the tickets, so I'm going the ride tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yep, yep. There we go. All right. Well, you'll have to let me know how that plays out, because honestly,
I
it
will.
is
I
it
will.
is a great way to go about it. But I guess some other things that I was going to touch on, but we're getting close to the time frame that I wanted to roll into the game. But I know that you had a few things you wanted to mention as well. So I just wanted to quickly, if you had something you wanted to talk about, and then we can jump on over to the game.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, the main thing I want to talk about is it's the Australian Chili Champs. We're very, very soon, July 5th here in Australia. This is the best of the best. This is the best competitors in our country duking it out to be the Australian Chili Champ. We've upped the prize money. It's $2.5 grand cash for the first place winner, 500 for second, and 300 for third. And first place not only gets that, but they get their name engraved on the golden boomerang forever
Oh,
on this
nice.
epic trophy. This forever, right? So our first four winners already are there. They're all engraved there. And yeah, they get that. They get a year's supply with the chili products, a crown, another trophy, and they're, yeah, just some chili bling. It's just so much. It's just a massive, massive prize pack. But, right, you don't get it for free. You've got to go through an absolute, not just a gauntlet, an avalanche of fire and lava and brimstone to get there. It's 30 rounds of the most crazy, brutal things you've seen people put in their mouths. And we start on habaneros and we go all the way to pure capsaicin, 16 million Scovilles. It gets nuts. And if we have, by some random occurrence events, more than one competitor, at round 30, we go a speed round, but we don't just go 10 chilies. Last year, we went 10 Carolina Reapers, a 15 centimeter stick of jerky with pure capsaicin all over it. And we found a new breed of chilies that are growing in Tasmania that are actually hotter than Carolina Reapers. You're not going to believe it. It's wild, this new strain, and threw 5 of those in. So 10 Reapers, 5 of these new things called Death Cons, and a 15 centimeter stick of jerky. What are we going to throw at them this year?
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man, that is awesome. That is absolutely, if you can make it through those, that is intense. You know, 30 rounds is quite the number, let alone the magnitude of each round. And I'm sure there's, like with most, there's a little bit of a natural lead time, a buffer time between competitors finishing and starting the next round anyways. But I'm sure there's probably a nice little stagger of letting that heat continue to build and bellow in the
No,
stomach.
we're going to absolutely shovel it in their mouths this year. Last year we had 2 hour stage time. This year they've cut our stage down to an hour and a half.
Oh
So we are
man.
just going to shovel this stuff in their mouths. 30 rounds in an hour and a half is not very long.
No.
So what the rule is, and so obviously there's no puking as well. If you puke, you're
Yep.
obviously disqualified, but that's most chili comps. If you reach for any of your lifelines, you're out. If you walk away from the table, you're out. And yeah, if you don't complete the round under 2 minutes, you're out.
Okay.
So there is an element of speed to a degree because, but like when we'll be fair. We also are fair. We try not to make everything about speed, but how it works is we'll let everyone eat that round or drink or whatever it is because we'll have some shots of hot sauce as well. But if the last person to try and finish their thing is lingering on to a ridiculous level where we're like, okay, this is it's a
Yep.
bit noticeable, mate. Like, we'll go bang, 2 minute timer, and then that's it. And they've got 2 minutes to get that down. If not, they're out. So that makes it a bit more interesting as well. Because has
Absolutely.
the dicey moments where they were really close and they just slipped in or they just missed out. So we'll find out how it works out for the competitors this year.
Wow, it sounds intense and it sounds like a lot of fun. I will definitely be
Oh,
trying to
it's,
tune
it's
in
both
for
really
that.
intense and crazy fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be streamed for those that are wanting to watch.
Absolutely. It'll be streamed to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and our TikTok page simultaneously, as well as we're going to have the news there, the radio stations, newspapers, you name it. There's going to be cameras everywhere. Because the festival that we have it at as well is actually Australia's biggest chili festival at the moment. It probably might not be as big as some of the ones in America, but this one's been going about 26, 27 years now.
Oh
And
wow.
there's every year there's about 40 to 50,000 people rock up every year. And the festival is basically the town with fences around the CBD. it's
Nice.
it's wild. There's about 100 stalls as well. So it's a pretty decent festival. I don't know how big it gets over there in America, but for Australia, that's pretty big.
Oh yeah. No, that sounds like a very nice turnout and a very large event. So, Definitely looking forward to that, and I will make sure to share that word around as it rolls out. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the game.
All right.
All right, here we go. We have a very fun round. This is a dual round of the 5. So oftentimes, most will gain their footing in the first round, and then they know how to play the second round. The way this goes, for all those that are unfamiliar with it, on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is your ranking order. 1 could be the best, or 5 could be the best. However you decide to rank it is totally up to you. The only thing is I will be showing you one image at a time, and you have to lock it in before you see the next one. So, up first. Well, we are having some Australian actors. We're going to start with Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, wherever you want to rank him.
Oh, rank him.
Yeah. So 1 could be the
all right.
best, or 5 could be the best. It's totally up to
Well,
you.
let's stick him in for 1 for now.
All right. Once it's set, we can't flip him, so he will be.
Okay.
Now you could make it to where 5 obviously now becomes the best if all of a sudden someone else is better and you want to put them at 5. So,
all right.
Heath Ledger.
Oh, now I'm regretting it. If I could put him at 1, I would, because Geez, I love The Dark Knight. That was such a good movie.
It really
And
was.
it's so weird and random and rare to see a villain eclipse the hero and just completely outact them, and like it was very obvious that Christian Bale could feel it too, going wow. So if I could go number 1 with Heath Ledger, I would. But if we're gonna have to stick to number 2, then I'm going to go with number 2.
You could always make him number 5 and then say that 5 is your number 1.
Yeah, but then that would mean that I would have to say that Chris Hemsworth is crap. But
Yeah. So, it's a little bit of a double edge. All right.
Yeah, it's a double edge. Yeah. But I'll
right.
probably regret it later. I'll watch now.
Here we go. Up next, we have Nicole Kidman.
Oh, okay. I'm going to put her at 5.
All right. I think that was a smart move because up next we have, boom, Margot Robbie.
Oh, Margot Robbie. Yeah, I think she's a good actress, and she's easy in the eyes as well. So we'll say that. Look, let's put her at 3.
All right.
Yeah,
I like it. Yep, definitely easy on the eyes.
Love her in The Wolf of Wall Street, and she's bloody good in Suicide Squad and as Harlequin.
Yeah,
absolutely. And like Barbie, it's so weird to admit this, but like I went and saw Barbie because I got asked to by my girlfriend. And what was weird was I really thoroughly enjoyed that movie so much more than I was expecting. And I laughed way harder at that movie than I was expecting. And there was a scene where one of the actors is going, if you want to feel bad for the actress, they probably shouldn't have chosen Margot Robbie because she's absolutely stunning. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard to feel bad for her. She's absolutely stunning.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway,
nope. And so inherently, number 4 is Hugh Jackman.
Oh, Hugh Jackman. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's in a bit of strife at the moment. He's done a few silly things. So he's going through the divorce with the missus at the moment, or the ex-missus.
Yep.
So that's going around town at the moment.
But yeah, that was the first round of the 5. Now, obviously, everything's locked into place. But if you had the choice, would you move any of these around, or are you comfortable with your choices?
No, I would move some around. I would probably put Heath Ledger at 1. I would keep Nicole down at 5 still. I put Chris at 4, and Margot Robbie at 2, and Hugh at 3. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep, that makes
mainly
sense.
because Hugh is Wolverine, and it's so hard to go against Wolverine.
Absolutely.
He was so good in Deadpool. Like it was so like the new one, Deadpool Wolverine. Like I saw that at the biggest cinema screen in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere actually, and that scene where they just duke it out and they have ACDC's what was it? Hell's Bells. Oh,
Hmm.
dude, it was too good. Like the whole everyone in the cinema just cheered. It was just like, yeah,
Yep.
why not?
It's such a great movie. I'm also like extremely heartbroken at the idea that they're gonna have to replace him as
Oh,
Wolverine because they're like in my
well,
mind there is
I
no
heard
other
they're replacing
Wolverine.
Ryan Reynolds, man, and I'm like, what? How can you replace him? He is Deadpool. Like
Yeah,
that breaks my heart more than the Hugh thing, man. Like I know that Hugh's not getting any younger, but Ryan Reynolds not as Deadpool? What? Like
that
he
that
made that
uh,
character, man.
that I can't even wrap my brain around. But
No,
you
neither.
know, hey, there's been some silly choices, and we'll see how it
Oh,
all plays out.
yeah,
But
yeah,
let's
that's
run it
Hollywood.
back for another round of the
All right.
five. This one may be different. It may be well, they're all going to be different images, but the overall topics may be completely off track. But here we go. Well, the jalapeno.
Oh, jalapeno. Well, I'm gonna make an assumption. I'm gonna go 5.
All right. Fair enough. Up next, we have the 7-pot dougala.
Sometime Douglas. Let's go 3.
All right. Number 3, it
I used
is.
to hate the 7 pots. Yeah, I love the history behind it. Like one chili can heat up 7 pots of chili. Brilliant.
Yep. Absolutely.
So it's so like you can visualize it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great way to explain, especially to those individuals that have limited knowledge of the
The
overall
more
pepper
nervous. Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Here we go. We have the tried and true habanero.
Oh, 4.
All right. Number 4, it is. Then up next, we have the chocolate primotali.
1. 2.
2.
2.
All right. Number
Oh, I'm so
2,
tempted
it
to say 1.
is. You want to change it before we go?
Oh no, I'll leave it
All right. All right.
there.
Well, that means number 1 is the 7-pot brain strain. This is the yellow variant. So there we go. All in all, I think that was a pretty solid ranking. What would you have changed, if any?
I would have changed the chocks with the last chilies there. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I think yeah, basically yeah, sort of like I think this like trying to get in Scovilles. Is that what's the deal?
No, however
Roughly.
you wanted to. It could have been personal preference. It could have been availability. Any of those. So the
Well,
way that the
actually,
game played out.
I'm pretty. What do you call it? I like a good jalapeno popper. I'm a real good fan of them. Oh yeah, and yeah, if you can get it where the dipping sauce is Philadelphia cream cheese, it's just even better. If it's sweet chili Philly, but the other weird thing, and this is me not trying to promote my product, just it's just a weird thing I've noticed. If you mix the tribute with Philadelphia cream cheese, it's just oh, you think sweet chili Philly's good. Like this is barbecue sauce and sweet and Philadelphia cream cheese. It's just
Mm,
so good. And then you dip your jalapeno popper in that. Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm
Sorry,
salivating
but
over here. I'm
yeah,
already
yeah. I'm
salivating.
celebrating now going.
There we go. That was the 5. What did you think of it? Did you like the overall presentation and way that it went through?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was simple. It's sort of fun that it sort of left it like kind of ambiguous or whatever, but like you had to sort of guess, and then you can sort of have your assumptions subverted as well. I like it. It's simple yet unique. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, no, and absolute hit home on the idea of the jalapeno poppers. One thing that I have leaned into is by way of a friend that actually had it's his cross. It's not it's more of a selection, we'll put it that way, than cross. He just kept preferring to select larger and larger phenotypes of a yellow ghost pepper. And oh my gosh, do they make a beautiful popper. I mean, beautiful. Because these things get
I
about the
bet they
size
kick
of
a
a,
lot more there.
yeah. Oh yeah. But they get about the size of, in between like a tennis ball and say a racquetball. So like, they're once they're opened up, they're about that big. So then you can stuff them and then roll them back, and they get pretty decent. They're a solid
Yeah,
option for those that like
yeah, that is
heat.
pretty solid. Yeah. And what's your preferred thing to chuck in your jalapeno poppers? What's your preferred
I
stuffing and wrapping?
I mean, the easy go to is I like to do a little bit of cream cheese, but also a lot of shredded cheddar cheese, blended in with some like chopped up bacon that's already been cooked. And then sometimes I'll swap out the bacon for either brisket, or I'll swap it out for some boudin, and I'll make the poppers that way.
Now you're
But
making me
then
sell that. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
yeah, they're amazing. And then of course then do the bacon wrap. But I like to go heavy with the bacon wrap, so much that it's like
Oh yeah,
almost a tomb, like it's a mummy
yeah. People
wrapped
are like,
up.
how much bacon's enough? And I'm like, if you think you're gonna have a heart attack, that's enough. And they all like,
Yep,
what?
yep.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay,
If you're
yeah.
not starting a grease fire on the grill, you're not wrapping it in enough bacon. So
Mate, absolutely, completely agree there.
well, here's the nugget of knowledge. This is a moment for you to be able to share with others. I guess what we can kind of cater yours towards is going to be around the realm of those individuals that are in the spicy community. They're plugged in, but maybe they've always had aspirations, or they've wanted to figure out a way to either MC an event or put on an event. What would your nugget of knowledge be towards that individual to just get out there and do it?
Whoa, okay, that's a great question because I think you've got to understand from the get go when you're organizing any event, you're organizing people, and you're organizing anything that requires other people's involvement. You ready for this?
Yep.
Be prepared for everything to go wrong. Like
Absolutely.
everything can go wrong, will go wrong. It's like that Murphy's Law kind of thing.
Yep.
But I suggest figuring out ways, learning how to be able to pivot from one problem to a solution to a problem to a solution to a problem to a solution, and learning to think on your feet. You have to. It's a requirement because you can't organize people and you can't organize an event without having to be able to think on your feet. And trust me, there's never been an event I've been to where everything's been perfect and nothing has gone wrong. That's just not the way of the world, and people
Yep.
aren't reliable. And people are so hard to organize. It's like organizing a herd of cats at times.
Yep.
Like it's just like, just do what you're told. But like, human rights. But anyway, joking. Moving on.
Yep.
But like, it's just wild that like you don't realize until you organize an event how much can go wrong and how wrong it can go.
Yep.
And it's such an important skill to continue to learn how to think, adapt, and think on your feet. Um, so I think I don't know if I can sum that up in one trait or tip, but like there's an old trait when you're in sales or you do door-to-door sales, which I did a little bit of when I was younger, and is to be like a duck on water, right?
Mm.
From appearances, everyone sees the duck just gliding along, all chill. But realistically, under the water, its legs are going,
Yep. Yep.
and that's it. You just keep all that chaos and that panic inside during an event when you're organizing an event, not all the rest of your life, right? Just during the event, and and just try and go with the flow from appearances, but make sure you come up with a good game plan too. But
Absolutely.
adapting, yeah, because that's all it is. Don't assume everything's going to go right because it never will.
Yep.
It's never going to be 100%. It never will be. Yeah. So that's that tip for that if that helps. And hopefully
Very,
that answers your
very
question.
well said there. Very well said there. Now, here's your chance. Obviously, you were nominated. You were placed on the hot seat. So this is your chance to put someone else on the hot seat. This is someone you think would make a great guest for the show.
Whoa, well, I'll tell you what, I know this bloke is a bit of a character. He's another Aussie as well. I was going to say Rob Dunn from Australian Extreme Chili Condiments. He's down in Tasmania. He's just opened his own shop. He's got his own sauce brand as well, which is Australian Extreme Chili Condiments, right? And he puts in one of the rounds for the Australian Chili Champs as well. He's got this sauce that's called How They Go, Mate? And it's about 9 million Scoville, so it's pretty wild. So if you want to talk to a bloke who knows the extreme, it's literally in the name, Australian Extreme Chili Condiments. So he's a great yarn to have a chat to, and he's got some wild stories too.
All right. Well, Rob, I'll be reaching out to find a time that works best to have you on the podcast. Appreciate that nomination there. And, here's your chance as far as those that are just audio listening for them to know how they can, find you, keep a hold of what's going on, and really stay up to date with what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, most of the content we're going to be posting up and regularly is on our Facebook page. So it's facebook.com/Burnin Bites Down Under. So it's burning without the G because we're all, Aussie. We're all burning, right? Burnin Bites Down Under. We're also on TikTok. So Facebook, was it TikTok.com/@Burnin Bites. And Instagram and YouTube as well. So when we do a live stream, it's on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Because Instagram's been painful, but anyway. But we're just go and follow, like, and subscribe us because we're always doing something. And here's the funny thing: if it's quiet and we're not putting up regular posts, we're up to something. We're up to something. There's something spicy, and we're up to it.
Very nice.
So bloody nice.
All right. Well, Chilli Phil, thank you so much for coming on. Absolute pleasure having you on here. Still so much more we can dive into. I can already tell by the conversation here, there's a lot more fun stories that we can dive into and things that we can, share in the moment on. So definitely look forward to having you back on.
Thanks, legend. Happy to be here, and I'll be happy to come back anytime.
Chilli Phil, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. If you want to keep up with Chilli Phil and everything that's going on, I'll have the direct links down below for him, as well as all the great events that he has going on as well. Whenever those happen, I will roll them out on social media. And if you enjoyed the products that were discussed here on Hot or Not, I will have the direct links for those, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products. And want to continue to thank you all so much for making this show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Don't forget, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. And want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site. Maybe you had somebody at one point and lost contact with them. Maybe you've never even got a website started, but you really are needing one now. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs, and they will help make that process painless and nice and fast and get you looking great and building out that brand presence online. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.